What is going on out there, good people, and welcome back to LMD Trading, where I am living my dream trading. I hope everybody out there is doing well. As for myself, I'm doing good, enjoying this nice sunny Florida weather. Big contrast difference from last Sunday. Last Sunday, I went to work wearing long johns. It was freezing. This weekend, I can probably go to work wearing shorts. We had a high of, I think, 82 degrees yesterday. Beat the all-time high for January by 5 degrees. But today, we have a cold front that's sitting right on the edge, and it's probably going to drop us back down in the 60s today. But I am sitting at the desk looking at these charts. Myself and Vega, we were in the Discord just kind of typing out our thoughts on what we thought the market was going to do this week, specifically the NQs or MNQs in my case. That's the chart that I have pulled up. But I figured I would make a fairly quick video, I think, just kind of breaking down my thoughts on it. And hopefully we can get some discussion started in the comments section if you trade futures as well. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna bring up my main screen here, and we are gonna start looking at the daily chart. And like I said, this is the MNQ for me. You might be looking at the NQ, but pretty much same information. But first thing that jumped out for me on the daily chart was, for one, it's green. That's good. That means we're bullish. But every day, if we start back on the 17th, every day from the 17th, we closed higher than the previous day. Just barely closed higher on the 22nd. 23rd, we closed higher. 24th, we closed higher. 25th, we barely closed higher. On the 24th, we did get this wicked top and tail. But then if we look at Friday, we closed lower than the previous day. So what they call that, or from what I've heard it being called, is first daily candle to make a new low. Every day we've closed higher than the previous candle. Friday, we closed lower. So we closed lower than the previous day. That could be looked at as fairly bearish. So now we'll flip over to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart is fast becoming one of my favorite charts to look at. I've always had it pulled up over on my right-hand screen to kind of look at, but never really focused on it as much as I do right now. And that's because of one of the gentlemen that hangs out in the Discord, Life. He stated like he doesn't trade off of the smaller time frame charts, and he likes to look for the demand levels on the higher time frames. But for me, on the 4-hour, we noticed we had been in this kind of choppy uptrend, and we had been setting higher highs, higher lows, higher low, higher high, higher low. And then we come right here on the 25th, and we set a lower high from this point right here. And then we come and we set a lower low from this point right here. And then we set a lower high from this point right here. And I go and I draw these trend lines, just showing this like downward motion on the 4-hour chart. And for me, I like to draw my channels to where I get more points touching. So for me, that would be this down lower channel. And on the upper end is going to be this one here. And then I just put channels out on the extremes where these wicks were at. And if you notice, Friday, we closed right on the trend line. So daily, first candle made a close lower than the previous day. 4-hour channel, we have this little established downtrend going. The one thing that we can do, and this is how I look at the market. I always look at the market like if-then statements. Like that's something that they use in computers, like if-thens. If this happens, then that can happen. If that happens, then this can happen. So for me, I think the market can do a couple of different things when we open at 6 o'clock this evening. It can bounce off of this trend line and head back higher. May run into resistance right here at the previous day's low. Or it can bounce and keep going. You got daily close sitting right here on this 4-hour level, which is also right here at the top of this trend line. Or it can keep on going. So that's what it can do to the upside. To the downside, it could break through, maybe find a little support at this 4-hour level. It could bust through that, find support at this trend line, which just so happens to be inside of this demand line. And then I have a 40. This is a 40 moving average. I changed it from a 50 because I did find that it was kind of finding support off of the 40 more than it was off of a 50 EMA. It could come on down into demand and find support there. We do see, since demand has started, it did find support once when it got down up in there. So we could find some support if it gets down up in there. But that's kind of what I see the market doing on this 4-hour chart. And now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to close that one out. I'm going to go down into my quad, what I use when I'm actually intraday trading, and we'll look at the first. We'll take a quick peek at the hourly chart, see what it looks like on that. Hourly, you see it has the trend lines that have came on over to the hourly, and we see that it basically just kind of traded within that channel since the 24th. And again, we do see that it is sitting right on that trend line, kind of found support right off of it. So again, this could break this area, come on down. It have one area for support here. Again, we have this demand area that it can find support, and this is a fairly big one. Let's see, 473 goes all the way down to 407. Call it 60 points. So it's like a 60-point demand area. So we could do that, or again, we can find support and bounce back higher. And then let's look at the 15-minute, break it down a little further. And on the 15, it gets a little more choppier up in this trend. But we do still see that it was trading within it. On the 15, you're going to get some higher highs, higher lows until it transitions, just kind of tanks on out, doesn't really set any true higher high, higher lows on this move down. Then find support off of what I like to call the main channel, comes back up. Man, this is what they call taking the stairs up and the elevator down. Stairs up, elevator down. But just kind of chops its way around up in there. So again, if we break this level, I think we can make a nice little move back down. One thing that I didn't mention was, let's go back out to the 4-hour real quick. There we go. Go out to the 4-hour. On the 4-hour, if this thing does make the move lower, if it makes the move lower, and this was one of the things that myself and Vega caught when we were kind of breaking it down. If this breaks 17,400, look at this nice move to the downside that this thing can make. If we break 400, we can see a nice drop down to about 17.3, which is this 4-hour level. After that, it's a smooth drop down. This is that taking the stairs up and elevator back down. This can take the elevator smooth back down to 200 if we get below first 17,400, and then if we break like 335, we could see a nice drop back down. Vega, he sees it coming back down to 17,100 as the big move based on his daily chart, based on how he's looking at the daily. And this is, let me find the chart that I had been using. There we go. Yeah, so on the daily, he sees this back down to about right. Yeah, I can see that this daily candle right here. Again, once we break 400, good clean move back down. So we'll have to pay attention to that. Let me get that off of there, get that off of there. And see, now y'all see I done jack my charts up. Let me find that 15-minute chart. What did I do? All right, there we go. So got the quad pull back up. I'm not going to break it down anymore on the lower time frames, but what I will say is just based on the lower time frames, 15-minute charts, red. 5-minute charts, red. 1-minute chart is red. 2-minute chart is red. Market opens, I should not be looking for anything other than going short. If y'all remember Friday during my recap, I took a trade right as the market was closing, and I took a long right here. Everything about these charts was saying go short, and I took a long and I took a loss. So what I'll be looking for is a bounce. I'll be looking for a bounce. And if we don't get that bounce, then I'll be looking for that break to go down lower. But if we do get a bounce, I am not going to be looking to long it. I'll be looking for it to come up into some supply, find some type of resistance, and look for a move back down at that point. So that's how I am kind of reading what the market is going to do. As always, thanks for checking me out. If you hadn't hit that like button, that would be a great time. If you are not subscribed, please think about subscribing. And as always, we can continue the conversation in the comments. The comments section can spark up some good discussion. So always appreciate y'all that comment. Everyone that trades knows we do trade differently. Everyone, I think, trades differently on some level. Like I said, you could be under the same tutelage. You could have learned from whoever your trading person is that you've learned from, and I'm guaranteeing that you do not trade exactly like that person. But one thing we do have in common is that we like the stock market. So as always, leave a comment if you're so inclined, and we can discuss it. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. We'll be back at it again tomorrow. Peace.